Hey everyone, welcome or welcome back to my channel. Today I've got some super budget-friendly decor pieces to share with you that are made from plastic spoons. And you can get these at the Dollar Tree. You get 48 in a bag. All the crafts I did today on this video, I use a total of 3 bags of spoons. So some of them were for indoor, some of them were outdoor. If you want how to make them, stick around. I'll show you how. Thank y'all so much for being here. I really appreciate it. For this next one, we're going to use 4 spoons and we're just going to cut the tips of them off. And then I'm going to use an embossing gun and I'm going to flatten out the tip of it, the bottom of it. Just kind of flatten them out. Heat it up and then just push your finger on it and flatten it out. Okay, next I'm going to paint them with some red spice paint from Deco Art. And I'm just going to use a sponge. Now I ended up putting like 3 coats of paint on these. Okay, next I'm taking these napkins that I got on Amazon and I'm going to take the backing off of these. Now you paint your spoons a similar color to what your napkin color is. And then I'm just going to cut out some little squares that'll cover the spoon part of that. And use different parts of your napkin. Don't use the same one straight across. Go ahead and do some different designs and it'll look a lot cuter. And you just want enough to go hang over the edge of the spoon, probably about maybe 1/4 of an inch. And then we're going to apply these with some matte Mod Podge. And just go ahead and paint your spoon and then go ahead and put your napkin over the top of it. And then we're going to let it dry. And you want to do the bottom of the spoon too. Just kind of make sure you get it smoothed out good. And then we're going to go around the edge of the spoon and then the inside of the spoon and we're going to go ahead and glue this over. And then go ahead and trim any excess off and then we'll glue the rest of it to the inside of the spoon. And then do all 4 of them exactly the same way. Okay, next we're going to take one of the spoon handles. We're going to heat up the end of it and we're just going to curl it over. This will give us the head of the butterfly. Just fold it right over there and that'll make it look like where the eyes go. And then we're going to go ahead and paint it with some black paint. And you're going to paint the whole thing inside and outside. Okay, next go ahead and line up your wings and we're just going to glue the inside edge on both sides together. Just kind of line them up real good and let those dry. Then we're going to take some little crystals, little Swarovski crystals, and we're just going to go ahead and glue these right onto our spoon handle for the eyes. Okay, next go ahead and glue your 2 wing sides together. And then we're going to use some E6000 glue and hot glue to attach the middle part, the body of the butterfly. Just don't get so much that it oozes out. You just want some kind of in the center. And then just kind of center that on there and let that dry. Next, I'm going to attach some little antennas, and I'm just using these little pieces from a flower. I just cut off the orange part, and I'm just going to glue it right below the eyes. And I got those on Amazon. I'll try to find the link for those. They're just like the center of a little flower. Next, to kind of decorate it up a little bit, I'm just taking some of that same red spice paint that I painted the spoons with, and I'm just going to add some stripes along the bottom part of the butterfly's body. All right, and that project was pretty easy. I think these turned out so pretty. You could use these on wreaths, you could use them as a refrigerator magnet, you could use these on so many different craft projects. Let me know what you think in the comments. Okay, for this first one, I'm just using the Dollar Tree party pack of spoons, and I'm going to cut the stems off. Now, there have 48 in a set, but I ended up using 55 spoons. So depending on the size of container that you're using, you may have to adjust the amount of spoons that you use. But go ahead and save the sticks because we're going to use those for a project here in a little while. And then I'm just going to glue these right to my little container, and I got this little container at IKEA. It was a little 79-cent little bucket, and I'm gluing it where the top of the spoon hangs over the top edge of the container. And you can use any size that you want. And I'm just going to go all the way around, just side by side, gluing these in. And then I'm going to take a piece of wood on both to put on both sides of my container so that it won't roll. It made it a little bit easier. And then just keep going till you get all the way around, and then we're going to start our next row. But just do make sure that you do get them lined up on top because you want to make sure that they are even. And then for the next row, I'm just going between the two spoons, just down halfway on the spoon, and I'm going to continue to go around until I have it completely sealed in on the second row. Just make sure that you get them close enough where you are covering your container. For the third row, you're just going to go between the two spoons, like on the second row, and just keep alternating, going all the way around. You just want to make sure that you do cover up your container completely. And I'm using white spoons because it was just a little bit easier once I started painting them to be able to see how much paint I needed on them. The clear were a little bit harder than this. And you could do these in colors if you wanted just to not even paint it and you had a color. On the bottom row, we're going to go all the way down to the very bottom and glue it down to the ledge on the bottom. And then continue to go all the way around till you have it finished out. Okay, then I had to cut a few more because that's as far as I got with the 48, but it nearly covered it. I mean, there wasn't a whole lot. I needed an extra 5 spoons. Okay, next, I'm just going to take some regular cellophane tape, and I'm just going to go ahead and go over each one of these. I'm just trying to get all the extra strings from the glue off of these. Now, usually you can use a heat source to do that, but they will melt your spoons. And I got this plant at IKEA. I'm going to put it inside of my vase. Now, if you did your vase in yellow, it would kind of look like a pineapple. I just wanted to show you that before I showed you how I'm going to paint mine. Now, I'm painting mine with a satin nickel metallic paint. Then I'm going to take some black chalk paint, and I'm taking a chip brush. I'm getting most of my paint off, and then I'm just going to brush this on here. I'm trying to give it more of a metallic or a metal look to it. And then I'm going to put some, I'm going to spritz my paint a little bit to get my brush a little bit wet to kind of smooth it all out. Okay, next, to clean up the edges, I'm going to take some jute rope, and I'm just going to go all the way around the bottom. And then I'm going to go all the way around the bottom again, going upward 3 rows. So once you get the bottom row glued on, then you're just going to go up the next row 3 times. This just kind of cleaned up the edges of where the spoons were so you didn't see through it. Okay, and I really like the way this one turned out. Let me know what you think in the comments. You could paint this in so many different ways. This next one, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to take the spoons and I'm just going to cut the ends of them off. Okay, for this project, I only used 48 of the spoons, and I'm painting them with an aged copper metallic paint. Next, I'm just going to take some white craft foam, and I'm going to cut it to the length of what this spoon is. I think this ended up being maybe about an 1.25 inches, and I'm just going to cut little slits in it almost all the way down, and this is what's going to be in the center of the flower. And then I'm just going to roll it up and I'm going to glue it together. Now, I'm going to end up having to add more here in a little bit because it just was not enough. Just roll it up and glue it together. And next, I'm just going to go ahead and take my spoons and I'm going to glue them together. I'm going to make 5 of them in this little section. Just glue the edges together, and we're going to go around, and then we're going to add the 5th one right over the top of the first one and the last one. You're just kind of making a circle. And just try real hard not to get any glue oozing out. It'll look so much better if you don't. So kind of be a little bit light on your glue a little bit. And then we're just going to take our next one and just go right over the top of these two to close it in. Next, I'm going to take some more of the white craft foam and I'm going to cut some more of those little slits in here almost all the way down because I needed the center to be just a little bit bigger, and we're just going to glue this right around the one we already made. Okay, so we're just going to kind of roll it right up around that one and go ahead and glue it together. You want to make sure that that cavity inside of that flower is full. And then I'm just going to stick it right through the center part of the flower, and I'm going to glue it in at the bottom. And then all that'll be covered up here in a minute as we go along and build this rest of this flower. Just kind of make sure it is glued in good. The second row, we're just going to come in between those two other petals, and we're going to just glue this one in. And we're going to kind of glue it towards the bottom. And then we're going to continue around that the same way we did the other one. And they will start to stick out as you go. Okay, next we're going to go down to the third row and do the same thing we did on the second row. Now this is where the flower is going to start opening up a little bit. So I got two of these leaves put on, petals put on, and then I'm going to cut a piece of craft foam to hook to the bottom so that it'll lay a little bit easier and they'll attach a little bit easier. But they are going to start opening up. And you're just kind of putting it right up underneath the flower. Okay, this is where the flower is going to start opening up. Now you're going to start putting your pieces on there and you're going to put them underneath the little bud and start letting them go around, and they're going to start sticking out. This is where it's opening up, and then I decided to take a 3-inch piece of craft foam, cut a circle out of it, and I'm going to glue the main bud into the center to start holding all this together. Now while that's still wet, you want to go ahead and put the rest of the petals around that before it dries, because they are going to have to go underneath that bud. So before your glue dries, go ahead and put the rest of the little petals underneath, and then once you get them underneath there, we're going to go ahead and let this set up for a little bit and then move to the next step. For this next row, they're going to go right up against that bud on top of those two spoons. And you're going to fill that in all the way around just like I did that one. And just get a little bit of glue right in the tip top of it, and then just push that on in there. Since it's on a flexible platform right there with the craft foam, it does move around pretty easily. Next row, we're just going to go underneath between the two petals, and we're going to do that between each two pair of petals all the way around. And you could make this as big or as small as you want to. I'm just going around and covering up the rest of that craft foam. Okay, and then just start filling in just to kind of get it proportionate. This little flower was so simple. You could use this in so many different ways. You could use it as a centerpiece. You could put it in a wreath. You could put it in a flower pot. And you could just paint it up any way you want to. Let me know what you think in the comments. Since I didn't use all the little petals, I'm going to take 6 of these. I've got 12 of them left over. I'm going to hook them around into a flower shape. And then I'm just taking a little 1.5 inch circle, or maybe it's like a 1.25 inch circle of craft foam, and I'm just going to glue it right into the center here. And this is going to hold this together. Just put it on there and let that dry for a minute, and then we're going to flip it over and we're going to put another one on there. These little flowers would be cute in just about any kind of craft project. I may even use some of these for the 4th of July in maybe the red, white, and blue colors. But they go together good and they stay together good. And then I'm going to go ahead and glue each one of my petals together so that it's a little bit more firm. And then I'm going to glue my other piece of craft foam on top. And this is going to be pretty solid. Once I finish gluing all this together, it was pretty solid. And then I'm just going to go ahead and glue a tea light right into the center of it. And that was pretty much it with that project. That was super simple. Okay, these were the easiest of all the projects today. You could use these on your patio during the summertime at nighttime. If you have a swimming pool, you could float them in a swimming pool. They're just really a pretty little flower to decorate up your space. Let me know what you think in the comments. Okay, for this next one, I'm just going to take a 2-inch circle and I'm going to cut it out of craft foam. And then I'm going to take the handle of the spoons that we just used and I'm just going to glue these all the way around in a flower shape. And just kind of space them out kind of evenly. And we're just going along the edge of the craft foam because we're going to come back in the center and put some more in. Next, we're going to come in a little bit farther in the center and we're just going to put one between each one of the ones we just did. And they will be raised. Just kind of evenly space them. Okay, next I'm going to take another one of those 2-inch circles and I'm just going to glue it right on top. And then I'm going to take a larger circle, about a 3-inch circle, and put it over the rest of it. That way this will hold this together really well. So I'm using a tea light holder and I'm going to spray paint the entire flower and the tea light holder with an oil rub bronze paint. Next I'm using some gold paint that I got at Michael's and I'm just going to take a paintbrush and I'm going to accent the tips of each one of those spoon handles. And I'm doing all of them. And I'm going to accent the top of my tea light holder with that same paint. And I got these little tea light holders at IKEA. They were like 47 cents. Next, I'm going to add some E6000 glue and some hot glue to the bottom of the tea light holder, and I'm going to attach it right to the center of my flower. This was a great way to repurpose the handles of the spoons. I think this turned out so pretty. Let me know what you think in the comments. You could use this in your home. You could use this outside in your patio during the summertime. If you like these kind of videos, be sure and give me a like, subscribe, and ring that bell to be notified when I have a new video upload. Thank y'all so much for watching. I really appreciate it.